On January 21st in Davos, Switzerland, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney delivered what is being termed a historic speech about the global order. It started with a story from Václav Havel's essay, The Power of the Powerless, the story of a greengrocer who hangs a sign in his shop window, not because he believes it, but because every person expects him to. Carney argued that for decades, countries have played that same role, hanging up signs that read something like American hegemony, rules-based order, mutual benefit through integration. Not because they believe in it, but because refusing to display the sign carried consequences. It challenged companies and countries to take the sign down. Why? Because we now live in a world of great power rivalry, a world where the rules-based order is fading, where the strong increasingly do what they want and the weak are told to align or suffer. Carney didn't frame this as a binary choice between submission and isolation. He instead articulated a thought path for which he called middle countries, for countries strong enough to matter but not dominate. He challenged them to build resilient economies at home and work together for mutual benefit because, in his words, you cannot live within the lie of mutual integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. Perhaps what I admire most about the speech was that Carney didn't absolve Canada of complicity in building the same order now collapsing. He owned up to it. The speech read in part like the obituary of the rules-based international order and also like the birth announcement of a new world order. And this is where Africa must pay attention, because for once, the world is admitting the truth we've lived for decades, that integration didn't mean inclusion, that globalization didn't always mean dignity. This moment offers Africa an opportunity, not to beg for a seat, but to renegotiate our value, to align strategically, to build regional strength, and to show up not with signs, but with terms on the table. The question is no longer whether the old order is ending. It is ending. It is whether Africa will arrive early or be written into the footnotes again.
I think the era of the rule-based order underpinned by the US leadership is over. Let's not pretend about it. It is over. And the reason I insist it is over is because till date, nobody can call the US out. Nobody has dared. If you sell to the US and the US is your largest buyer, that muzzles you completely. So I'm hoping that indeed there will be emergence of the middle countries, and then let's see what difference they can make. Canada is already taking its destinies in his own hands. The conversation, the deals with China, with Qatar, and I think the EU generally, it's a reflection of the fact that proximity is no longer an advantage.
Yeah.
You know, that we're close and you have what I need doesn't really make you
my best customer.
Yes. I can go as far as Japan to buy what I need, even if you have it. And I'm certain that you won't wake up one day and close the borders. You know, so I think there's a wake-up call. Unfortunately, Africa is not at the table.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that is what we are seeing play out now in the world economies. Like Kingsley said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. I love your advocacy, and I love Carney's speech. You know, it was introspective. It will make you reflect on where you stand as a country. I don't think that there was anyone at Davos who wasn't impressed by that particular speech. My favorite quote from the speech was, "A country that cannot feed itself, fuel itself, and defend itself. How do you claim national autonomy? How do you claim sovereignty?" So, which is a question we need to ask ourselves as Africans, as Nigerians. Can we feed us? When we talk about import-dependent economy, you know, we can't. When we look at, can we fuel us? Some people are saying, oh, Dangote is doing monopoly this, monopoly that, you know, but at least it's still a path in the right direction. You know, and then also defend yourself. We're having terroristics developing security, surveillance infrastructure, but people are not proud of that. So the first thing we need to do is look inward and see, how do we achieve national autonomy? And then subsequently, how do we stop exporting our raw materials? How do we start processing more? You cannot lie. You cannot live with the lie of mutual benefits through integration when integration becomes the source of your subordination. That is the truth. We can't keep deceiving ourselves. We are not on the table.
No.
We are not at the table. We are on the table. We are what is being shared.
But this is an opportunity for us
to come together.
There are
because
realignments coming up now. So this is opportunity for us to be on the table and not be the menu.
The reality is we are too small to be on the table individually. All we can do is come together as a bloc.
Okay.
And be part of the middle powers.
If you say that it has definitely changed and still nobody can call them to order, then it's contradictory, because it means that we are still where we are. Nobody is ready to stand up to them and really say, yes, I'm the one talking to you. What you're doing right now is wrong. Everybody's still waiting for who will take the bull by the horn, right? Which is why I love this speech and I love the advocacy you just take. I think this is the kind of clarity that this movement needs. And Africa, yes, we want to come to the table. They say if the old sign doesn't work, we should take it down, right? But I would say if it no longer serves us, we should also not rush to just put up another illusion because we want to replace something. We need to go back, like Zuma has said. Look at our strengths, regional strengths, not just, oh, this is Nigeria, this is South Africa, this is Ghana. I mean, some of the things you talked about in terms of raw material and all, we can see some countries in Africa have done something. Ghana, for example, with their raw material and chocolates and what is going on there. There's a lot that is happening, right? AU, African Union, need to come together and decide and ask themselves as leaders of people, huge number of people that have been projected to even grow beyond what it is now in the next 10 years. What do we want to be at the table? Do we want to be, borrowing your words?
I always say that most of the problems we have in Nigeria, in Africa, is a result of education that has not been properly delivered. We don't have the right education to keep us rooted, to understand these things. So our minds are colonized. We feel that when we come to this table that we're talking about, they are doing us a favor. So who are the people sitting at the table? When they see that foreigner, when they see that person, and they begin to bow, what type of conversations are they going to have? So those sort of things really, really worry me. I don't believe that we can stand up, maybe not overnight. I feel right now we're still on our knees, begging and just believing that they are doing us some kind of favor. We are performing globally. We perform, we dance to whatever it is that is being offered to us. And Africa must stop performing loyalty. We need to understand that we need to negotiate from a place of strength, because we have a lot going for us. We have a lot. Look at Aisha's speed in recent times. Even some things that I haven't seen. Ever so beautiful, Africa. We are so rich, but we don't know that we are that rich. We don't have the right conversations. We don't have the right vocabulary. We don't know what to do when we get to that table. So those are where the challenges are. We don't even invest. You know, when someone is going for a job, I think, was it Elsie? Someone mentioned this in one of our advocacies. And you have a local degree as opposed to somebody that has a Harvard degree of 30 minutes online course. They will still choose the Harvard degree over the local one. We don't even invest. We talked about the duo in Abuja, Maxwell and the other, Maxwell Wachuku, those guys.
And Maxwell.
Again, it's the foreigners. We don't believe in ourselves. And that's why I'm very passionate about doing it for the children, so that they can come out and have those conversations. And they're beginning to do that. And we can see that change is happening.
If we don't move with the times and even shape the future vision, we are condemned to repeat history again and again.